Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Sixers with a tough loss to snap their win streak. Before we talk about it, if you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button as well. We break down the Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, Eagles. We talk Philly sports all day long. Make sure you come join the party. Also, if you're looking to buy tickets to go to an NBA game, an NHL game, NFL game, you can utilize the promo code BRODES at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off of your purchase. You're basically eliminating your fees. It's a no-brainer. Get yourself to a game. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. The Sixers lose to the New York Knicks, unfortunately, to snap their six-game win streak. But we knew that at some point they were going to run out of gas, especially when the news about Joel Embiid dropped, that he had to enter the safety protocols due to the COVID. So here we are, and apparently Doc Rivers is stating that he's feeling it, sort of like Tobias Harris. It's not as if he just has it and he's asymptomatic. He's going through it a little bit, so hopefully he's okay and he's getting all the help that he needs to kind of grind through this physically and emotionally as well. It's definitely not an easy task, but here's what I do know. The 76ers fought extremely hard and battled to the end. The Knicks had the answers, and ultimately it looked like they thought they just won a damn NBA title. Beating the Sixers without Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, Joel Embiid is essentially winning the title. It reminded me of, and I know it's not exactly the same, but it reminded me of when the Mets were practicing winning the World Series in spring training. It was as if these Knicks players thought that they were practicing for some sort of NBA championship, as if they're not 6,000 feet ahead. How are you that excited? How are you that pumped up to win a regular season game in the beginning of November when your opponent had nobody playing? Nobody playing. It shouldn't have even been a 1-point lead at one point. The Knicks had a 1-point lead. You should be pissed. You should be disgusted in yourself that it was even that close. And that's where I'll credit the Sixers' Andre Drummond on the glass, eating boards for dinner. I swear to God, at one point I looked at the box score and I saw 6,283 rebounds next to his name. He was all over the map. Had a couple blocks, too, that started a spark at the Wells Fargo Center. So, he was just bringing the intensity on the glass. Furkan Korkmaz, while the offense was a little bit blah, he made some shots early for you. And there was a stretch in that first half where we could have chalked it up to one of those nights. They just don't have it. They can't compete. They're running out of gas, but they left every single ounce of energy that they had out there, which scares me for tomorrow because the Milwaukee Bucks are coming to town. That will be your 6th game in 9 days, and that is a lot. There's a lot of wear and tear on your body. We're crediting Tyrese Maxey for logging in an insane amount of minutes, but you're also seeing a lack of efficiency. Here's where I'll give Maxey a lot of credit, though, which is on the glass. I thought he was rebounding, and also 0 turnovers. So to be a young kid running around for as many minutes as he has, even though he was not scoring the basketball and he wasn't shooting the best at all, there was definitely the factor of just not turning the ball over. It's little, it's tiny, it's things to grab onto in a loss, but it matters for the growth of such a young player. But Furkan, he was making some shots. And then, look, there were times where I thought the offense was too heavy relying on just three-point shooting. But at some point, you don't have shot creators. You don't have guys that go get the basketball and go score me a bucket. Hell, they barely even have that when they're fully healthy, too. We said that they lack that perimeter style of play when they are fully one as a unit. So what do you think's going to happen when, you got B-Ball Paul and Niang, who's having a tough night shooting, and Shake Milton out there, and a young Tyrese Maxey? I mean, it makes a lot of sense for sure. So it is what it is from that perspective. The Knicks just had the answers late, but the fact that Seth gets a major three in that left corner, Danny Green had those back-to-back threes in the second half to bring it down to from double digits to single digits, and here we go. Everyone's rising. And there were a lot of Knicks fans. I thought that it felt very I don't know, 50-50. It felt like a neutral sighting game, and I don't know why. Was it New York Knicks fans coming to Philadelphia just for the game because the Knicks finally have a team that doesn't want to make their eyeballs bleed and stab their eyes out? I don't know, but I thought that just everything surrounding the Knicks in energy was so obnoxious. And maybe that's what happens when you're stuck in the basement and stuck in the gutter for 3,000 years. You finally pry yourself out of it. Go back to the Sixers when they won 28 games, and prior to that, they were consistently losing on purpose. Were we feeling the same way? Did we have that same type of vibe? Or maybe the season after when they jumped from 28 to an actual playoff team that was bringing the noise with 50 type of wins in the regular season? I'm sure we did. So here I am being a hypocrite, but I don't care right now because I can laugh at them for having that much excitement. Here's Julius Randle on the ground, pumping his fist at the ground. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? A November 8th win? Come on. I thought it was foolish. Look, I did believe, though, that there was a moment where the game was lost for the Sixers with 7 minutes to go, and they still showed heart after that, which definitely put a smile on my face because it's easy to give up knowing the circumstances. There was about 7 minutes to go. The Sixers just got a defensive rebound. Shake gets the ball around half court. And it's basically a 1-on-4, and I thought that they would slow the possession down to see if they could generate any sort of solid look. But instead, he drives to the rack, he goes underneath the basket, and he tries to pass to find the corner three, and it gets picked off, and then the Knicks go in the other direction. They bang a three to put the Knicks up 7. 7 minutes to go. There's plenty of time left on the clock, but that's definitely a dagger, and that hurts because, you know, you can only push so much before you just can't keep up that level of scoring and keep up that level of producing on that side when missing so much talent, but they did. They consistently kept finding ways to do it, and I was very proud, but it just didn't feel like it was going to be their night by the end of it. It made sense what the result was, but yeah, you know, I thought that they were living and dying by the three at times and just jacking up threes and hoping and praying. But like I said, it's really difficult to be upset after this. I got people in my mentions after the game being upset with Doc Rivers and being disgusted with Danny Green. Knowing Danny Green missed some time due to the injury and the hamstring and all. When he returned and you look at the matchup and him defensively, I mean, it wasn't as if every single moment was the worst moment ever. If you thought about, well, what did you expect him to do? And then when you saw him on the defensive side at times, it's like, okay, all right. I mean, let's not act like the guy did absolutely nothing out there. Banged a couple threes. Those back-to-back threes were insanely important. And then there were some nice possessions on the other side as well. I don't know what the outrage is from the ones out there where, did you expect to win every game? When you win 5 straight games, healthy, losing the 6th game makes sense. There's a lot of outrage out there. Shake Milton not strong enough. Niang. Is Niang even that good, Brodes? Come on, he's 1 for 7 from 3. He didn't have a great shooting night the other night, but he just made a big one. Relax. Take a deep breath. You know, it could be tough tomorrow, too. Running out of fumes, running out of gas tomorrow against the Bucks. There's no reason to overanalyze that. Take a deep breath. It's all about holding your head above the water. These are unfortunate circumstances that you just cannot account for when you're a head coach, when you're an organization. Hell, when you are the players out there. No Matisse, no Toby, no Ben, no Isaiah Joe. You're lucky to have Danny Green back. Now, I just mentioned Ben Simmons, so I have to bring up the rumors that circulated today. And the last we got was, well, it's funny, huh? Now that he's getting fined again, okay, I'll go, and now we'll start communicating with the Sixer side of things, with the mental health approach. What do you know? The guy's a fraud, okay? The guy is a flat-out fraud, and he doesn't care about anything throughout this process except for doing anything in his power not to wear a 76ers uniform again and getting paid. Every time he thinks he has a plan to get paid and do it his way, it stabs him right in the back. He literally gets socked in the face because he has no idea what he's doing and how to handle this the right way. He's doing it the wrong way every single step. First it's the fans, then it's the players, then it's the coach. It's everyone's fault but his. And he keeps checking off the list until he finds something that fits his there. And he keeps going down. Guess what, Ben? That list is going to keep going and going. You're going to have to keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. Because everything you think is going to work is not working. And the Sixers are handling this the right way. Ben, you got to inform them what you're going to do. And then you can't work out. You can't do film sessions. You can't do this. You can't go to the gym. You're a loser. It's just that simple. You're a fraud. But I digress. Every time you're getting hit in the pocketbooks, here comes Betty Boy showing his face. Okay, I'll do it. Because you think you're going to maneuver around it. And you're not. When is it going to click in your head? It's not that hard to see, Ben. You're going to lose every time you attempt this nonsense. Now, ultimately, you're going to get what you want, which is out of Philadelphia. But you look like a dope going about it. And that snowballs right into the whole trading for Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I don't know how to feel about it. Because Shams reports it. Okay, Shams, clearly a reliable source. Then there's a lot of people out there in the media saying that's just not true. It's not true. They did not go to the extent of that. And then there's a report on what Daryl Morey, like the original report was about having a conversation between the Celtics and the Sixers. And here's my thing. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But I also know when we're talking about this level of national attention and national reporters, this side says one thing, leaks information. The other side says another thing, leaks information. He said, she said. Look, the Boston Celtics are already having a horrible mesh inside their locker room, so this type of information can't get out. Is this part of the Celtics trying to hide that and keep everything away from Jaylen Brown, away from the Celtics, things of that nature? I mean, there's so many angles that you can look at that. I can't just take it from the surface level for face value. Now, you know Ramona Shelburne saying things to get out information for Rich Paul and Ben Simmons. You know that these national reporters have a bias towards what they're trying to leak. So when you're getting all this news, some of it's probably from Morey, some of it's probably from the Celtics, and they're trying to create this new storyline surrounding it where I don't know. I don't know. Why would the Celtics want Ben Simmons? Now, the NBA world values Ben Simmons way more than the fans do and outside viewers think. That's just reality of the situation. The league still views him as a 6'10 point guard with an unbelievable skill set that can be tapped into. And if it is, it's a lethal weapon. And Boston had to change their entire front office, get rid of Brad Stevens. He goes to the basketball president operations role, so they got rid of him from the head coaching department. They're in shambles at the moment. Is Brad Stevens thinking about making an irrational decision because of he knows the toxicness that's in that locker room based off of his past experiences on the sidelines? I don't know. If I'm the Celtics, though, I know this. I'm probably not trading Jaylen Brown for Ben Simmons. And think about the market. How hysterical would it be if Ben Simmons goes to an East Coast market in Boston and gets annihilated by the fan base for sucking, and then he's got to return to Philadelphia over and over and over again? Oh, there's no escaping it. See, if you go to the West Coast and you play for the Kings and you come to Philadelphia once a year, oh, it's a rest day for Ben. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Can't really be the case if you're in the Boston area. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. Maybe there was short dialogue. I don't know. Maybe Daryl Morey's picking up the phone, and that's where some communication happened. But it's too raw for me at this moment. Where there's smoke, there is fire. I will live on that one, though. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that something's happening here behind closed doors on why some media members are saying it's not true. Shams is one of the biggest names in the basketball world, so is he just making that up? I highly doubt it. And then, of course, the big package was, and everyone's all pissed off with Daryl Morey. Why is he asking for this? Why is he asking for this? Relax. Relax. Let Daryl Morey do his work. All I'm saying is don't take all the news that we got today for face value, because there's something weird about it. There's something going on behind. You got to somewhat read between the lines. And it's not that simple. But anyway, getting back to, the game, it's not as if there's that much to it more than what I already stated. We have some anytime hotline calls coming up that we'll listen to. It really is, just from a very simple, broad approach, happy about the fight. Little things that you could take away. Andre Drummond's work ethic was just unmatched, and he was eating all night long on the glass. It was highly entertaining to see that type of effort, to see that type of intensity, to see the blocks in there as well. Danny Green, when he hit those back-to-back threes, the place exploded. Seth Curry had a monster three in the corner there. Furkan Korkmaz had a couple big shots early when the offense wasn't clicking as smoothly for the Sixers that kept their head above water and then helped them just stay where they were, which it could have been way worse if he wasn't making those shots. There were a few that he took late that was like literally rolling around the rim that maybe on another day would have fell, and it rolled in and out and rolled around. So, who knows if that fell. But that also goes back to they were relying a little heavily on just jacking up some threes there. It's just, what do you run? What do you run when you don't have Joel and you don't have Toby and you don't have Matisse and you don't have your players? It's sort of like a makeshift type of thing. And goes back to Doc Rivers once again. I don't want to underplay this. The way Doc Rivers has handled all of this adversity, there's a reason why the team is playing this way. And it starts with Doc Rivers. He's the one that sets the tone and makes sure everybody's engaged the right way and keeping everyone in the right mindset. Doc Rivers deserves a lot of praise with a loss, even though it's a loss and it's an L in the loss column. There's no way to be upset about what's going on. I mean, you could be upset that we're in this predicament, sure, but in terms of looking at the wins and losses and the loss tonight, there's nothing really to harp on. And then keep in mind with tomorrow, you're set up to fail. I mean, we're just going to be honest here. You're set up to fail tomorrow against the Milwaukee Bucks. So just know that with your expectations, and that doesn't mean they can't win. Hell, I can't rule this team out because of the way they keep their head down, and when you think it's over and you think the Knicks made a run to shut the door and they take a 7-point lead, the Sixers respond on the other end. Now, I didn't love, here's some things that you can clean up and you want to emphasize on tape and just know that it can't happen when Danny Green and Tyrese Maxey late in the game nonchalantly inbound the ball. Hey, you got to be focused. Now, that's a learning. Danny Green should know better. That's a learning moment for Tyrese Maxey, though. Get to the ball, get the ball in your hands, and let's push up court instead of casually waiting there. And here comes the Knicks. They take the ball, and then they kind of play with the shot clock a little bit there and run the clock the way that they want to try and secure the win as comfortably as possible. But, there's little things for sure to kind of nitpick. But ultimately, just one of those games where you appreciate the effort, and you love that they brought you down to the wire when realistically they should have never even been in that position to begin with. They probably should have been down 20, 25 points, and they kept themselves involved. So I do appreciate it from that point. We do have a couple anytime hotline calls to get to. Before we do, let me tell you about my friends over at WinView. Are you tired of getting fleeced by the house? Are you tired of spending time researching players and teams only to end up short? Welcome to WinView. WinView is the only app where skill elevates you over the competition and into the money. You can play against family, friends, fans, and rivals during live sporting events. Put your sports knowledge to the test with contests before the games and even during the games so you can experience watching in a way you never have before. Forget about spreads, salary caps, over-unders. All you need to do is answer questions about the games that you love. And WinView right now will double your deposit bonus up to $100. For all first-time users, your first deposit will be doubled. That means if you spend $50, you'll get $100 in bonuses. If you deposit and spend $100, you'll get $200 in bonuses. You should definitely take advantage of this perfect bonus when looking at the NFL games, NBA games, NHL games that are on the schedule. It's so much fun. All you do is answer questions about each game heading into the night. It's sort of like TikTok for me. You get sucked in for 5 hours. I'm sucked in on WinView, doing nothing but playing all these games, answering the questions. WinView.tv/Brodes. The information is down below in the description. I'm trying to move my mouse to pick on the anytime hotline calls, and here I have my office remote. So hold on, maybe if I click this damn button, the calls will start playing. That was terrible. Horrible joke, Brodes. I'm sorry. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's late. I'm tired. Anytime hotline, here we go.
Definitely no shame on losing tonight without Embiid and everybody else. I mean, they tried very hard, but just didn't have the horses. A little disappointed in how they just kept jacking up threes and not really running an offense. I thought they looked better when they were trying to penetrate, but maybe the legs are tired. I don't know. Just confident in those games, but I think this is great practice for future playoff basketball for these young guys.
Yeah, I think it's fine to just look at it with the mindset of let's see what these young guys can do with more minutes. And yeah, you're right. The three-point shooting, jacking them up as much as they were. It's not ideal. I'm not sitting here telling you I loved every moment of it when I'm putting my feet up on my couch saying, hey, let's watch some Sixers basketball tonight. And there's just a bunch of threes being popped. But at the same time, drive, get fouled, do the best that you can. I know people are going to be upset with the referees. How about the one situation where the Knicks subbed somebody in during the free throws and then subbed them back out, and Doc Rivers is looking on the sideline. Here's Tom Thibodeau with his arms just folded as if nothing's going on here. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Do we know the rule books? Do we know what's happening? My man, too, they show a little face of him sitting on the bench. I feel embarrassed for him. You think you're getting your nod, you're clocking in, you're taking off your warm-up gitch, and then 3 seconds later, your ass is still sitting there on the bench, and you got to pretend like that wasn't an embarrassment. Poor guy. Would love to swap places with him, though, if I could be in the NBA. The referees, though, are a little, NBA, typical NBA. What am I going to do? Sit here and bark about the refs being bad? We can do that in the NFL every Sunday. We could do that about the NHL where they miss some calls against the Flyers. We could do that in the NBA, and the NBA is one of the worst. So is there a correlation between driving? Maxey gets swarmed and attacked. It looked like 17 guys were swatting in his face as he's looking around. What is happening here? I chalk it more up to just personnel. Is why it even played out that way. By the way, the Knicks ended up losing Nerlens underneath the basket. You could see the way his knee buckled as he got hit into. He's laying on the ground, and then he hobbled off onto the bench area and went back into the locker room, I should say. I have not seen an update, any news on that as I'm recording right after the game, so hopefully it's not anything too brutal for him. That would be devastating. You never want to see anything like that. So, all right, what's next?
Yuck. This is what having great players on the COVID list will do. Also proves how bad our backups are against a playoff contender. Just need to try and get to some kind of winning formula back and going by the time the starters like Joel and Tobias return if we ever want a top seed and be able to maintain it, man. Bottom line, tonight sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it sucked. I think that's a little bit strong. The idea behind where we are sucks for sure, but this game specifically, I can't label this game as it sucking. I was proud and I hold my head high by witnessing the type of way that they played the game for the circumstances that they were dealt. Now, I mean, you talk about, well, this shows how bad the backups are against a playoff caliber team. That's why they're backups. I don't know what team can just play a full team of backups and then go up against contenders, if you will, or because I don't even think the Knicks are like a legitimate contending team. I think they're a playoff team, though. They're a playoff squad. So I want to know how many teams, when they lose $100 million in cap space, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, all that money. How many teams with their backups are winning games nonstop against playoff teams? I just don't think you have your head in the right place. If you walk away from this saying, this sucks, I'm disappointed that the backups couldn't beat the playoff team, that makes sense. Winning the game is more mind-blowing. Coming out with the victory is almost like, whoa, all right. But this happens more times than not. That's why when they start the season off 8-2, with everything that's happened, we're thrilled and we're going, whoa, there's something special about this because it's not normal, because it's rare. And I would love nothing more for them to come out tomorrow to keep that energy happening. It's a hard task. It's not easy. And I don't know if it's possible based off of back-to-back, 6th game in 9 days. Maxi's playing 40-plus minutes, right? We're looking at the box scores. Every time we keep pointing out Maxey, we're talking 40s. Wear and tear on the body. Seth Curry having a lot of pressure to run some stuff offensively. And we talked about him taking this new step and this new identity and becoming this different player where Doc Rivers is basically opening up the floor and going, Seth, be you. Seth, take that next step. Be that guy. Show that killer. Well, is he ready for that every single night without a Joel Embiid out there with the two-man game? It'll end up coming back to, I'm not going to say bite you, but it'll come back to play more of the averages when all these minutes continue to log in over and over again each night. All right, what's another one here?
What's up, bros? The Sixers lost to the Knicks by 7 points. Right now, all the Knicks are acting like they just won the championship or something. But, I mean, the Sixers did not play good in the first half. I mean, they were undermanned, of course, but it looked like Doc Rivers made them run 20 suicides in shoot around today or something because they were exhausted in the first half, it looked like, and their defense was piss poor. But in that third and fourth quarter, they really turned it up. They were making shots. They were playing a hard defense. The crowd was into it. Korkmaz, he was great. You had Maxey. He had a tough night, but he made some shots. And then you had Andre Drummond, who had 14 points and 25 rebounds. That was terrific.
25 rebounds is just outrageous. It really is. It's mind-blowing to see the way that he battles that hard down low and he utilizes his body. We didn't know what to expect. We were laughing when the signing happened. People were mocking Daryl Morey. And, of course, the relationship between Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond in the past made it a little bit even more entertaining. But, when you're a professional and you're athletes that compete against one another over and over again, once you're on the same team, you have the same goal and you put everything past you. I'm not surprised by them being professional about it whatsoever. But it was all right, what do we have here in Andre Drummond? Or more so, what's left in Andre Drummond's tank? And he held himself to a higher standard too. He knows, look, I'm trying to prove myself. This is as much as I'm here for the Sixers and I want to be a guy that can play my role, hold my own, and if not even more than just hold my own, be a caliber player that this team can rely on when my number's called. I'm also playing for my dignity. I'm also playing for my heart. I'm also playing to show everyone who wrote me off that I still have some game left, and it does seem when he's out there, that's part of his mindset, and I'm cool with that. Look, get yours, get your cash, get your money, get your future contract, do what you need to do. If that's what motivates you to help you play for the Sixers, then by all means, and I'm not saying that's all it is. I think he does care about being a good teammate. I think he does care about solidifying that role behind Joel Embiid and take pride in that specific role too. I think it's all one that forces him to be a 25 rebound guy in one night type of thing. It shows you though with Doc Rivers, while things got ugly in the first half and they were trying to survive as much as possible, they flipped that switch. This is what you need to do. Get back into it. Defensive intensity, whether it was on the defensive side or if it was just knocking down shots a little bit better. There was something said at halftime that sparked the squad. Credit, once again, to Doc Rivers, who deserves a lot of credit for what has been happening so far this year. So with that, we're going to shut things down here. We got a game tomorrow, so I can't wait to see how they look against them, even though I'm kind of expecting a tired team because that makes sense. I'm curious how they look. So thank you guys all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.